Common Council to order. Pastor Sluter, would you please come up and pray for us?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings and thank you for bringing us into a new year. And we're asking you, God, tonight as officers being sworn in, that you'll protect their homes, protect them while they're serving our community, protect them on the roads and everything that they're doing, protect their families when they're away from them. We thank you for your many blessings in this city. And Lord, we have the privilege of being taxpayers to help with the responsibilities, but when all the taxes are paid, everything is done, and there still needs, we believe, Lord, you're able to provide. I pray for provision this year in 2023 for the city of Portage beyond our imaginations. And God, you're able to do this. We pray for the City Council, help them have wisdom and unity as they lead this off this year. We give you praise and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Nina, would you please call the roll?
Councilperson Alvarez?
Here.
Councilperson Podgorski?
Here.
Councilperson Geisers?
Here.
Councilperson Clem? Councilperson Williams?
Here.
Councilperson Gully?
Here.
Councilperson Zilli?
Here.
So we're going to switch the agenda around a little bit. We have 3 officers to swear in tonight. So we're going to start by swearing them in first. So if those officers want to come up, we will swear them in. You guys are welcome to come up and swear in if you want to join us. Thank you.
Shows off
So
your
please, put your left hand in the Bible, raise your right hand, and state after me. I, Dylan P. Boones,
I, Dylan Youngs,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America
and the laws of the United States of America
and the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
as a member of the City Police Department
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Stay safe. We'll do a picture. I will have you sign these. Do we need to do this right now?
No, we can take some there. Let's do one of these pictures though. All right, so left hand for that, right hand here, and then smile for the camera. Got it?
Yep.
All right, you're ready.
Okay, Brandon?
Can we steal your Bible?
Steal.
How about borrow?
Okay, please put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and state after me. I, Brandon Abstrew,
I, Brandon Abstrew,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Got one more handshake. And then we'll do one more, so.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Sorry.
Got it. Good.
Jacob. The left hand on the Bible, the right hand raised. I, Jacob R. Hill,
I, Jacob Barlow,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Family? There you go. Good.
All right.
Got it. Good.
We get both of you guys up here, all three of you, and with the mayor, get everybody together. Then we'll let you get back to your.
I'm not standing right where you need. It's not all right.
All right, one more. All right, good.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we're going to proceed with the reorganization. We have the election of council president and vice president.
I'll make a motion to nominate Debbie Podgorski as president.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Nina, would you please do the roll call?
Councilperson Alvarez?
No.
Councilperson Podgorski?
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Yes.
Councilperson Williams?
Yes.
Councilperson Goli?
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli?
Yes.
We have the election of the vice president.
I'd like to nominate Scott Williams for vice president.
And I will second.
We have motion and a second.
Councilperson Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilperson Podgorski?
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Yes.
Councilperson Williams?
Yes.
Councilperson Goli?
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli?
Yes.
So we have mayoral and the common council appointments. I will now read my appointments. Advisory Claims Committee, Brian Gully, Paul Shaselski. Alcohol Beverage Commission, Jim Thompson. Americans with Disabilities Act Building and Grounds Coordinator, Sandy McDaniel. Board of Licensing and Registration, Robert Makoviak, Joe Casper, John Harrison, and Ramon Mendoza. Board of Works and Public Safety, Joetta Collins, Jamie Lewis, Stephanie Young Johnson, and Scott Williams. Board of Zoning Appeals, Denise Little. Hearing Authority for Enforcement of Building Standards, Alan Mendel. Plan Commission, John Harrison. Police Merit Board, Jeanette Allen Bucco. Port Authority, Dave Burhans and Steve Nelson. Portage EDC, A.J. Monroe and Ralph Munt. Porter County Convention, Recreation and Visitor Commission, Barb Lesko and Karen Webster. Porter County Solid Waste Citizens Advisory Committee, Julie Peller. Redevelopment Authority, Greg Locke. Redevelopment Commission, Ralph Munt and Greg Locke. Sanitary Board, Mel Gore. And Stormwater Board, Dominic Bonta and Mel Gore. Council, would you state your appointments?
Advisory Claims Committee, Pat Clem. Board of Licensing and Registration, Ferdinand Alvarez, and our Citizen Council will remain vacant at this time. Board of Zoning, Jim Weller. Then we have the Fire Merit Board, which is Randy Riley. Planning Commission, Gina Geisthurst. Police Merit Board, Chuck Mason. Porter County Solid Waste Citizens Advisory Committee, Scott Williams. Redevelopment Commission, Colin Zilli, Alan Ekdahl. Sanitary Board, Mel Gore. The Senior Advisory Committee, Deb Podgorski. Traffic Commission will remain the same, so that has Deb Podgorski, Mark Monks, Chuck Mason, Randy Reeder, Sandy McDaniel. Budget Committee, Scott Williams as chairperson, Deb Podgorski, Colin Zilli. Ordinance Committee, Brian Gully as chairperson, Deb Podgorski, Scott Williams. Strategic Planning Committee, Gina Geishurst as chairperson, Pat Clem, Ferdinand Alvarez. Ways and Means Committee, Brian Gully as chairperson, Pat Clem, and Gina Geishurst. Redistricting Committee, Brian Gully as chairperson, Scott Williams, Ferdinand Alvarez. Fire Department and Fire Merit Boards Liaison, Scott Williams. Park Board Liaison, Gina Geisthurst. Police Department, Police Merit Board, Deb Podgorski. Port Authority, Ferdinand Alvarez. Street and Sanitation Department, Brian Gully. Utilities, Colin Zilli.
I think you guys should vote on that.
I'll make a motion to accept the nominations as is.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Nina, will you please call the roll?
Councilperson Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilperson Pitgorski?
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Yes.
Councilperson Williams?
Yes.
Councilperson Gully?
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli?
Yes.
Thank you, Nina. We have the approval of the minutes from December 6th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We have communications, correspondence, and announcements from the mayor. I do not have any at this time. We have the clerk treasurer's report.
So we got our 1782 notice back a couple weeks ago. Our 2023 budget was fully funded, so the DLGF approved it without any cuts to any departments. We also, later in the meeting, will vote on adopting an ordinance 2301 for our annual tax anticipation warrant. And I just wanted to explain what exactly that is. So it's not difficult to understand, but it seems like, you get your taxes in December, it should get you to June, but that's not how it works. Your taxes that you get in December is from the current year. So when we get our taxes in December, we still have to find a way to get us to June. So that's why most people think of it as any unit of government as you operate under an 18-month budget. And that's why it's so important to have cash reserves to carry you. We don't have as much cash reserves as I would like, as much as we should. So we still have to borrow from the Indiana Bond Bank, a tax anticipation warrant. We pay this back when we get our fall settlement in the following December. So when we came in 2020, in 2019 borrowed for 2020 was $10.7 million for the general fund alone, or I'm sorry, not for the general fund alone, in borrowing together. In 21, it was 6.3. In 22, it was 4.5. In 23, it'll be down to 2.02. So that's 8.67 million less. That's significant. We still have to borrow, but
We've made great strides.
yes. So I just wanted to be clear on that.
Can we quickly go back to the December meeting minutes? I think, Gina, you were at that meeting, right? Okay, we need to add Gina. So, I'll make a motion to amend the minutes to add Gina as present to the December 6th meeting.
Thank you.
We need a second.
I'll second that.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have reports from standing committees. Budget, do you have anything? Did you want to? That's Scott now. Well, it's kind of short notice. You just got
Just throw it at me, Mayor, I'm ready. The Budget Committee has not met yet this year in 2023, but we'll soon gather the forces and have a meeting in the next, probably prior to our next council meeting, so.
So I assume ordinance doesn't have anything, although you met tonight. Do you want to talk about that?
I could report on
Okay.
that, yeah. The ordinance committee did meet, just a reminder, unless the chair chooses to change the time of the meeting, we do meet at 5 o'clock prior to each council meeting, so, but that'll be up to the chair's discretion if that schedule changes for 2023. But we did meet, we had a couple of items on the agenda. One of the items that we discussed was some new toter fees. We haven't, we kicked that can around a little bit, but we really need to get Randy on as a part of that discussion. And some of you know he's up in Chicago with his daughter, so that will be tabled to our next meeting. We also had a discussion about pet shops. I know the pet shops have to come before the Board of Works and renew their licenses, and they're going to be doing that. They've been asked to come before the Board of Works. But the continuing issue that has come up in regard to at least one of the pet shops is their source of puppies and where those puppies are coming from. So the ordinance committee is considering changing the existing ordinance to address those puppy mills. Nothing decided at this point, just letting you know that it's in discussion. We also, on request from at least one resident, taking up the topic of chickens within the city. So we're going to look at some other city ordinances. I know our Valparaiso does have an ordinance that does allow for chickens within the city limits, so we're going to, again, discuss that a little bit further. And that was it. Those were the 3 items. I guess there were only 3. So we'll continue with those discussions and any other ordinances that we need to review. That concludes our report, Mayor.
Thank you. We have reports from city officials, and AJ is with us tonight. So he always has some wonderful things that are going on in our city and keeps us very positive and busy.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Councilman, women. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Apologize for the voice. It's been an interesting past few days at home. Don't worry, I don't have that really nasty illness. I just have all the old ones we used to have, and still feel bad about those too, right? We're in process of completing the department's 2022 year-end report. As you know, the department is getting longer in the tooth every year, and December seems to be vacation month. So we are working to wrap that up, and we'll have a written report presented to Mayor and you as the council. Same with the redevelopment commission. Continue to work with Clerk Treasurer Rivas to close out the 2022 books. And we will be making a presentation to the redevelopment commission on January 26th for their working budget for this year, 2023. That is typically what's been done in the past. Is there's a lot of work that goes into preparing the redevelopment commission at the beginning of the year for the work that lies ahead for them throughout the balance of that year. Reporting on a couple projects briefly. Again, I know there's a lot of folks who have presentations to make tonight, and I'd like to touch on many of the positive things that we were able to accomplish in the calendar year 2022. I hope to hit many of them, but I know that with all the work that the department did last year, that I'm bound to forget a few, and if you would give deference to my presentation tonight. And so I think a couple exciting projects, one that I know we worked on as a community for a number of years was the Willow Creek Road, Chrisman Road Bypass Project. We had our pains, especially as we got the project started, but it does take a work effort to complete the work, especially in such a complicated corridor. So my appreciation to the Redevelopment Commission for providing the local match for that project, and a lot of hard work that went into securing the federal funding so that the community can move forward with that project. Our construction team, everybody involved in that project did a tremendous job, and I really appreciate all of their hard work. Continuing with paving, we completed a number of streets last year through our Community Crossings Matching Grant paving projects. Again, that is a program that is a state grant that we match locally with our wheel tax proceeds. A number of streets were completed within the community. We were able to take care of some arterials, Airport Road being one of them, and we were able to get into a number of neighborhoods that went a number of years being passed up. And we were very thankful and appreciative to be able to get that work done last year. The Marquette Greenway Trail, Portage continues to take a lead role in the development of that regionally significant trail. I was here a year or two ago reporting that we had completed the section within Ameriplex, and we are now in process of completing the next section that will link Deer Trail Park and Ameriplex to the east, to the town of Burns Harbor. That is a grant that we were able to secure, a state grant called Next Level Trails. And again, that project was matched by the city's redevelopment commission. Again, more good work that group does. I think it'd be remiss for me not to mention this building right here. And I know you're all very happy to have meetings here in City Hall. Mayor and I had some visitors earlier today, and they were just so complimentary of the space. And I know you've heard a lot of compliments over the past couple of years. So I know it's good to be here at home in City Hall, having meetings like this. And so a great project. We're working on wrapping it up. Any construction project, as you get close to the end, it's close to the end. Founders Square and Plaza, a project that continues to show the investment the community is making in our downtown. We were able to get it done in advance of summer, advance of a wonderful Independence Day celebration that was enjoyed by a whole bunch of people. And I know the parks are eager to program that space in 2023. We were able to address some of the needs of the community by the development of the municipal parking lot, which definitely came into service on a number of occasions this year. And I know as we continue to program downtown and downtown continues to develop, that parking lot will continue to be used. The Redevelopment Commission did recently complete a downtown master plan, an update of a document that's been around for a number of years and is really immediately leading to providing a list of projects that the Redevelopment Commission will be pursuing in 2023 and beyond. I'll be a much better position to talk in more detail about those projects once the working budget is approved by the Redevelopment Commission later this month. The Redevelopment Commission, the city, continues to work with the RDA on the Transit Development District. That's a project at the north end in conjunction with the South Shore project. I would expect that this year we'll see some movement on that work to move that forward. It was a topic, again, we've been discussing in the past few weeks. It's a wonderful opportunity for our community, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that really turns out for us. A project that we will be starting here soon. There was some evidence of work mid last year is the Central Avenue West project. And just like the bypass project, construction comes with some heartaches and some modifications to the routes that you take on a daily basis. That project is beginning this year, and because it's going to be a phased construction project, is going to be impacting that side of our community for a number of years. We will be starting, the contractors indicated work will begin in February, and they are coordinating with utilities to get utilities out of the way so that they can begin construction. That phase, which includes a new bridge over Willow Creek, so between Samuelson Road and Willowdale, north of the cemetery. And we'll proceed with a number of phases of different road segments moving forward. As you may have read, the city did receive some money from Congressman Mervan and his hard work, $2.4 million for next phases of that project. And of course, we as a department continue to pursue the federal matching opportunities that are made available to us at NERC. And that was one of the projects we submitted for ongoing federal assistance. We're working to develop our application for the Community Crossings Matching Grant for this year. It's due in a couple weeks. As I know I've mentioned to many of you in public meetings, it's Portage Avenue, it's Samuelson Road. Those are two roads that we put on back burner because there was the bypass, there was Hamstrom, there was McCool, and there was a lot of the streets on the west side of the city where we were trying to finish those north-south routes, Dombey, Swanson. So we're over here on the northeast side of the city working to move forward on those projects. And hopefully we'll be successful and move forward in those projects summer of 2023. As I mentioned earlier, a number of RDC projects are being discussed right now, and we'll have a presentation as a department to the Redevelopment Commission for consideration at their meeting later this month. And I'm gonna stop there. I could keep going. Again, I think it's evidence that there's a lot of great things going on. You'll see in the report that there's more to share, there's more to talk about. But I really just tonight wanted to hit on the highlights in deference to the other folks that are here and have wonderful news to share as well. So I'll stop there. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Okay,
Thank you, AJ.
You're welcome.
Exciting times, exciting times.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Darren, you have a street report?
Yes, I do,
Happy New Year, by the way. It's, what I'm gonna do here is a end of year report, okay? So, throughout the year, we've had, 8,900 phone calls, 8,800 drive-ins, 990 voicemails, 2,900 emails. Been quite busy. We just had 3 recent winter storm events. So we had, it started November 18th, which was really nothing. December 16th and the 17th, and then this last one. This last one was not fun. You had low temperatures and high winds and blowing snow, and the department did a great job. You know, they was out there. That was the most trucks and stuff I was able to get out, you know, with training and everything, which those things have changed so far, with the trucking industry and stuff, so we had to figure out other ways of training for CDLs. So, they did, it was a good job. We just got more salt in, so I had made out sheets. When I first started here, I heard a lot about salt. You know, they was always asking about how much salt we use, so I made up a sheet and all that stuff to kind of put a report together. I haven't used it yet because they're only estimates, and getting used to doing these sheets, like on how many trucks we've used, how much salt was, an estimate of salt used that was pulled out of the barn. Like, for instance, the average for a 2 to 3 day storm is close to 400 ton. Okay, like the first storm we had in November, I think it was maybe 57 ton. It depends on what happens. Sorry for the throat, I've been doing a lot of talking. So it kind of gives you like averages and stuff. So, yeah, this last storm was quite a bit because of the blowing snow, the freezing temperatures, because once you start salting, you got to keep going. The stuff refreezes. Even though we use calcium, that helps a lot, but eventually you have to go back over with some salt again. So, and thankfully for that spring-like weather that hit, because once that sun came out and that warmth, it helped out a great deal. So for 22-23 winter season, I said before, state bid $72.15 per ton, which it went down just a little bit. End of year paint striping for the season, 463 miles of traffic paint applied to the Portage roads. That's counting yellow and white. Of course, we did correction would be on here, leaf loads collected. To the end of the date, 462 loads. We are gonna get another leaf back out there because we got several calls. Hey, the weather's nice, can you get back out here? So we're gonna try that. and potholes have appeared after the storm. I'm getting the machine out. I believe we're putting it out tomorrow. Those are more permanent than what we threw out there with coal patch. Okay, sanitation has now received their third CNG truck. The guys, from what I'm hearing, they like it. That thing is quiet. It's, it's nice, really nice to have. This one is I believe it's a non-CDL truck. So, you know, it's a smaller one where they can get down there and then, because we did have another old green truck where we was bringing it back to the shop and dumping it into a truck, you know, but this was nice. All right, and yes, at the last part, yeah, keep Randy and his family in your thoughts and prayers as they're going through all this, you know, with the chemo and all that neat stuff. So, any questions?
Great job by the street department in the snow. I have gotten a million calls from people who are just, you go to another city and it's nothing like when you come to Portage. Our roads are clean and,
Right,
I mean,
right,
it was a really good job by your guys.
good.
Thank you so much.
Glad to hear that. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Wilkening,
There is one more thing. I'm sorry.
hold that thought.
The snowplow policy, I wanted to bring that up too, because while we were doing cleanup, after 2 inches of snow, you need to please pull your cars off the sides of the roads. We had a couple of issues where we had to call PD, but like I said, the warm weather hit. We wanted to give the snow a chance, but plow trucks could not get in between cars when they're parked on both sides of the road. So we had to make a call, but the snow was able to melt. As far as with the leaves and the limbs, keep them off the road. I've had complaints, people calling on each other saying, I'm afraid the snowplows are gonna hit those on the road. They shouldn't be on the road. You know, so that's for safety things. So just keep that in mind, and we do take care of a lot of roads, and just like this says, you know, when people ask about going into subdivision stuff, we have over 300 cul-de-sacs. That's a lot to do, especially when you got cars in those cul-de-sacs. Mailboxes are, you know, it's snow. They're gonna push it. You know, we make a couple of swipes. It takes probably, on one main line, probably 4 swipes. Because the plows aren't the length of the lane, or the width of the lane, they're only partial, so they gotta come in and do curb to curb, and they're gonna push it in your driveways and in front of mailboxes. So just be patient when it comes to big storms. All right, that's all I have now.
Thanks, Darren.
All right.
Chief Wilkening.
All right, Happy New Year, everyone. My compliments also to the street department. It always seems like we have to end the year or begin the new year with some kind of winter event, so we were well prepared also, and we really weren't needed that much thanks to them keeping the streets clear and people staying at home and being safe, so I think the weather event went really well. This past year, we had a really good year. I think we accomplished quite a bit, and I want to thank the mayor and the council for their work with us and trying to get us some things that we desperately needed. So hopefully we can continue that with the new year. We ended the year, we had a good number of calls. We had 537 total calls for December, 393 ambulance, 4 structure fires. Few of the structure fires we had were some pretty good size, and I just want to compliment our crews. They did a really good job, and especially the one at the trailer park. It could have spread to several trailers, and they did well to knock that down. So my compliments to them. We did finish the year with 6,137 calls, 4,475 ambulance calls, and 31 fires. So that is up from 6,116 calls, so we're right at about the same numbers as last year, a little bit up. So again, that's another record for us of the most calls we've ever had in a single year. So our people were quite busy. We also had 318 mutual aid assists that came into the city this year to help us. So I think getting this the third ambulance full-time next year is going to be a huge help, especially since I did talk to Chief Arney. He's the fire chief of Burns Harbor. And they're going to go part-time ambulance now with paramedics because they're having a hard time getting them. So during the day, they will staff an ALS ambulance, and at night, it will just be BLS. So basically, we'll only have them be able to use them for mutual aid during the day. So at night, we'll have to rely on South Haven and the county for ambulance. So that puts a little bit of a strain on us, but again, it's just the way of the world. I believe the state over the past 10 years, we've lost about 1/3 of the EMTs and 1/3 of the paramedics in the state. So it's statewide and pretty much countrywide that we're into a shortage. Speaking of personnel, we do have 2 firefighters retiring, so our need keeps growing. We had Rob Detterline. His last day will be January 6th. Firefighter Detterline's leaving after 20 years of service with the department. And then we also have, today will be the last shift for Lieutenant Bill Lundy. Bill's leaving us after 27 years of service. Bill has served in just about every capacity in the fire department, including he was the fire chief for 4 years. So we wish both of the men luck in their endeavors, and they will be missed. Yeah, Bill's getting out of here. He knows where to go. He's going warm. So we are still processing 2. We hope to have them hired by the end of the month. But even with the retirements now, we still brings us to a shortage we still have 5 short. So, and unfortunately, we have pretty much exhausted the list that we just made. And we are in the process of forming a new list. We did actually have a meeting with our fire merit board today to try to streamline some of our application processes and get something going to where it'd be at a constant basis so we can try to bring more people in. And also, we've got a group of people working on websites and things like that to make it easier and quicker and more accessible for people to get our application and stuff about us and explaining our department. So I think that's on its way. As far as our vehicle status goes, it's unchanged, so we are still okay there. Our assistance to firefighter grant, like I said, we did receive the radios, and they've all been programmed and everything set. So Chief DeYoung has started distributing them today, so those are all in service. So that's definitely a well-needed thing. The other FEMA grant that we did apply for was to try to get a new tower truck. And a couple weeks ago, we did get confirmation that we were declined for that grant. So we did not receive that grant. But the new wave is coming through for the next wave of grants, so we will be applying for stuff then too. Training, we did our annual ice rescue training last month. And of course, we've already had one call for the shelf ice. So I just want to remind the public, and I know Ogden Dunes has done a really good job of putting things out on their page of the shelf ice and telling people to stay off, and people just don't understand the dangers that it can cause, and I mean, it can be deadly. So people definitely need to stay off the ice because it's unforgiving. Our community involvement, we did do Shop with a Firefighter last month. We were able to help 21 children. So we were able to take them shopping and get them some well-needed stuff and give them a happier Christmas. We also want to thank Meyer. They ended up donating $2,000 to us. So they were a big help. And lastly, just want to talk about Like I said, we've had our share of fires lately, but yesterday we had a standout one. We did have a vehicle that crashed through a pump into another car with both cars catching fire. I want to compliment our crews. They got there and were able to help mitigate the problem and prevent the spread and not cause any more damage. There were only minor injuries reported, so fortunately the occupants did get out. And I also want to compliment the staff from Family Express. So they were very diligent on what they knew what they were supposed to do in their emergency procedures. So they were able to shut the pumps down, so everything was shut off by the time we got there. And people find it kind of strange that they thought as soon as a fire starts at a gas station, the whole thing blows up like it does on TV. And thankfully, we do have safeguards and check valves, and that's what they have done to prevent all that. So all the modern technology has helped so gas doesn't free flow and cause those problems. So it could have been a potentially really bad situation that fortunately was just another incident for us. But that's all I have. You have any questions? All right.
Great
Thank
job
you.
again, guys. Chief Candiano?
Hello, everybody. Well, I hope everybody had a nice holiday season. I can tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed it this year. For whatever reason, it was just a really good one. So I'll tell you, on just a little side note, we always do a family drive around and look at the Christmas lights kind of thing. It's, tradition. And as my daughter gets older, we try to hold on to tradition. But we drove extensively through Portage this year, and it was pretty cool. There was a lot of good interaction from the citizens this year. So thought all the lights and stuff looked pretty cool. So it was a nice, thought the city looked good this year. So in any case, I'll go over some numbers here real quick for you. So our total incidents for December were 2,323, put us at about 75 a day, which is down a pretty decent amount from where we were over the summer and into the beginning of the fall. Couldn't tell you why. I'm sure there's some reason, but who knows sometimes. When you least expect it, it's busy, and when you expect it to be busy, it's not. So we did finish the year with 33,869 incidents, which came out to an average of about 93 a day, and actually was a little bit down from last year. So there was a point in the summer where I thought we were going to blow the numbers out of the water there, and then for whatever reason, the end of the year trended down a little bit. So we'll take it. So I don't have a report necessarily over what we did over the year because I'm going to put together something over the next couple weeks. Obviously, our numbers just ended the other day, so we don't have all of our statistics and things yet, but we will put something together with kind of calls, things that we did, all that stuff. I'll get that out all to you, and then we'll probably share it through our social media to get that out. So that'll be coming in the next couple weeks. I will update you a little bit on our hiring. We currently have 2 officers in the field training program. One that was just sworn in needs the academy, and the other one has graduated from the academy, so he's working his way through his field training right now. The 3 officers that were sworn in tonight will begin their field training soon, and then they've got to attend the academy in August, so we couldn't get anybody into the next academy, so they're going to get pushed all the way to August. But there's pros and cons to that, so we're not terribly upset about that, but the reality is that once, for them to get fully released and be out there on their own is probably going to be a while. So it's just kind of the nature of the training and then how the academy falls. So we're currently in the hiring process to add 4 more officers. We've been talking about a lot. We got additional openings coming up. We've got a bunch of retirements on the horizon. So I believe there's 6 officers that made it through our initial testing process, and then we're probably going to start another process right away after that. So I've said a bunch of times, everybody's hiring right now. There is, I think the applicants pretty much can pick and choose from a variety of places right now because everyone is hiring. So, and In addition to that, we've currently got 3 officers out on some long-term workman's comp after sustaining some pretty severe injuries the last couple weeks, unfortunately. We've also got another one that's scheduled, he's still working, but scheduled for a surgery in the next couple weeks, so we're gonna be down an additional 4. So, after being in really good shape for a while, we're kind of hurting again right now, but this is probably the time of the year to be in that situation. Not a lot of people taking vacations this time of year. Call volume is generally a little bit lower this time of year, so, and we knew some of this was coming. This is kind of catching up to the curve with the retirements. Unfortunately, it takes about a good year to get people hired, get them trained, and get them released. So we knew that there was going to be this time period that we were going to be a little behind, but so we're working through that. Community engagement type stuff. We also did Cops for Kids at Meyer. I don't remember the specific number on children. I know it was over 20. Awesome experience. One of my favorite things to do every year. Need to thank the FOP. That is actually an FOP event rather than a strictly police department one. So they do a heck of a job organizing that, securing the funds. I know there were multiple people that did donations, including Meyer. I know the mayor donated some money. There's Debbie, yeah. I knew I was gonna do that, I was gonna forget those, so I'm sure there's some that I'm forgetting. I think we made a post about it, but there were multiple individuals and businesses and such that helped out with that, so it's just, that's an awesome thing. We also participated in the tree lighting and the Christmas parade. I thought that was pretty cool this year. It was a good turnout. I think that's something that we'll expand on every year as the word gets out and gets bigger and better, but I like the tree over there, the carolers. I thought it was a pretty cool event, so we did participate in that. And as with any event involving stuff like that, got to thank our reserves. Chris is standing out in the hallway. We rely on them for traffic, the route, blocking the streets, parking, all that stuff. They once again did an excellent job with that, so kudos to them. And the last couple things I got here. I'm going to recognize Lieutenant Maynard. He received the Community Matters Law Enforcement Award from the Porter County Hub Coalition. You might know of them as the Substance Abuse Council. He got this for his participation in numerous community events, collaboration, data development, information sharing with the coalition, and just overall his contribution out there in the community. So I thought that was pretty cool for him to get recognized for that. And as a department, we also received an award from the coalition for our work done in the community. Kind of excited about this because, we kind of made this a goal to do a lot more community-oriented policing, more involvement in the community when we took over. And I think this is just kind of, showing that's being recognized that we are out there. There's a real fine line between transparency and oversharing and jeopardizing investigations and stuff like that. And I think we've kind of found our niche on what's, the best way to communicate and be out there with the community. So, pretty happy about those awards for Lieutenant Maynard and for the department as a whole. And then lastly, I just want to recognize all the officers who are away from their families, worked through the winter storm that we mentioned, and just the holidays in general. We obviously work 365 days a year. It's always a little harder when those days that you're working fall on holidays that you're not with your family. So, and I know we're not the only ones, city services, for the most part, everybody's working, especially when there's storms and stuff, but for my part, I want to thank my people for the job they did, being out there and being out in the community, making it safe when others were home with their families. So that's all I got. You got any questions or anything?
How are the body cams doing?
They're doing great. Yeah, we haven't had too many kinks to work out, just a couple things with placement in the uniforms and some different things, just basic stuff, but yeah, they're doing pretty well. We've had a couple incidents that it was good for us to be able to review, to refute some things that were said, which we thought was going to be an issue, it was going to be helpful. And also there's been some pretty good footage of documenting investigations and crimes and things, which are, obviously just helps with the process moving forward. So I would say up to this point, I think we're pretty darn happy with them. And, as we continue through, we'll probably learn more about different features and things. But as of right now, yeah, I'm super glad that we have them,
So the local prosecutors are thrilled. Thank you.
Good to hear.
Chief, so just to be clear, at this point, you fully have rolled out body cameras, so
citizen should expect every officer to be equipped?
To our patrol division, yeah. So our patrol division has them. Detectives, that's a whole other thing. Most of their interviews are going to be done at the station in a recorded environment. And then we are still working through with the school as far as with SROs. So more to come on that, but yeah. So if you encounter a uniformed officer out on the road, you should expect that they have a camera. All good? All right, thank you.
Thank you. So Diane, do you have a parks report?
It's very small compared to everyone else.
That doesn't mean you're not busy.
Right.
Don't let
No.
people think that.
You don't keep track of every visitor? And
Yeah, I haven't counted everybody in the park, so I'm gonna get on that, guys, or the calls. Well, Happy New Year. Actually, everything I have is really positive news. Like Nina stated earlier, that we got our full budget, which was different than 2022, so starting off 2023, wonderful. Last week, we added 2 new plows and a second salt spreader to our trucks, so that's gonna be really helpful for the next 2 months, or 3 months, 2 months hopefully. Like AJ stated, about the improvements happening at Deer Trail Park. As part of the funding and the grants with that, Deer Trail Park got kind of a facelift, so I recommend if you're over in that area, just kind of swing by, see it has a concrete pad now, and it's beautiful, and it is definitely overlooked as a park, but as soon as, the Marquette Greenway is finished, it's going to be heavily populated, and I don't know if I'll be there to count everybody, but it's going to be heavily used. We are posting our parks maintenance manager position this week, so that's also really helpful, and I'm excited about that. And lastly, today, our daddy-daughter dance tickets went on sale, and we already, I think it was like up to 50-something just today. So if you are interested, make sure you buy your tickets early because they might sell out. So that is all I have, all good news.
All good news, we love it, thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks, Diane. Tracy. Last but not least, our sanitary superintendent.
Mine's really quick also. So last year went great, even though we were concerned about our clarifiers. Everything still ran really good, and they're still running and doing everything well right now. I want to thank my whole staff, the great job they did during the cold weather. They kept pumps from freezing up, lines. They were there working late in the night. The maintenance was making sure everything ran very well. So I want to thank them for everything they did. Warm-up helped us a lot, so that's great. But besides that, we're just going to keep going after grants, stuff like that to help the utility. So next year, that'll be busy finding grants and different avenues of supplying us with what we need.
How are we doing with the clarifiers? Are they, I know they're on order.
Yes, they should be going through the bid process here this month, because we continued with it. And it's still looking like 2024 by the time it'll be completed, all the work. It's just all getting the equipment, getting everything we need. COVID kind of pushed everything back, and now supply and demand is great out there. But they're trucking along right now. They are doing well. I mean, we just keep our fingers crossed with them.
Yeah, did you say those clarifiers are like 42?
42 years old, 43 years old now.
So yes, we've rolled over another year.
Yeah.
So let's keep our fingers crossed that they stay working till we can get those new ones in. That's good.
Yes.
Good news.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. We have no unfinished business. New business, we have the introduction and adoption of ordinances.
Yes, so ordinance 23-01, Scott, can you take that?
Ordinance 23-01. An ordinance authorizing the city of Portage, Indiana to make temporary loans to meet current running expenses for the use of the general fund of the issuer in anticipation of and not in excess of current taxes levied in the year 2022 and collectible in the year 2023. Authorizing the issuance of temporary loan tax anticipation warrants to evidence such loans and the sale of such warrants to the Indiana Bond Bank, and appropriating and pledging the taxes to be received, such funds to be punctual payment of such warrants, including the interest therein. Let the record reflect that this has been read in its entirety. I will comment that this is exactly what Clerk Treasurer Rivas was speaking about, that these are just temporary loans to fund the city until we receive our tax disbursements.
I'll make a motion to suspend.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have motion and a second to adopt. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have ordinance 23-02.
Colin, would you take that?
Yep. Ordinance number 23-02, an ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 90, Article 5, City of Portage Municipal Code entitled Zoning Map. Be it, and it hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana as follows. Section 1. This ordinance shall amend Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code and accompanying zoning map in the following manner. The zoning map shall be changed from requesting a change of zoning from R2 low density residential to L1 light, that's LI, light industrial for 19.15 acres east of Samuelson Road, south of 8090 between Silver Cloud Drive and 875 North. The legal description: Lot 1 in Robbins Run, as per plat thereof, recorded April 28, 2011, as document number 2011-008860 in plat file 52-E-4 in the office of the Recorder of Porter County, Indiana. Section 2, conditions precedent. 1, the agreement for written commitments of permitted uses and special exception uses. Let the record reflect this has been read in full. Motion,
That's got to be a first reading, right, Dan?
no motion.
That's the first reading, so more on that later. So we have petitions, remonstrances, and public input at this time. So if anyone would like to speak to the council, please step forward to the podium, state your name and your address.
Hi, I'm back. My name's Ashley Dietz. I work for the street department. I'm also a citizen. I pled my case last month about my medical illness days. I had ruptured my Achilles tendon, had to have surgery, and then I ran out of my own medical illness time. And before I could get back to work, I lost paid time. So they refused to allow donated time to me to get me through the rest of my therapies and all that stuff. I'm still here to plead my case. I lost 9 days' pay. What I wanted to make you guys aware of is that it wasn't that I just ran out of time. I had 2 weeks vacation that they had cashed in at the end of my MI time, and then still didn't tell me that they weren't gonna approve donated time 5 days after that. So I went 9 total days with 0 pay. I have now spoke with multiple departments. We are all running under different rules as far as MI time and rules in general as far as the workplace and city policies and stuff like that. I spoke specific to Water Rec and their plant and their other department, it's the same department, but it's a plant and then they have Water Rec. They're not even under the same year ruling. One of them's under rules from like 2001, one's under rules from like 2019. So my plea is, can I just get a past practice and get my 9 days paid for that I lost and call it a wash? Honestly, I think that at this point, The entire city needs an updated, this is the final rules. It will never go this way again. That's it. It's fine. The last meeting I was at, Ms. Mayor, you asked me, you said that we would discuss more if I showed proof and all these things. I went to my department head and my secretary, and they both proved that in the last 8 years, because the 8 years was as far back as the system would let them go, there was, I believe, 5 employees that received donated medical illness time that was not terminally ill, and they were not taking care of somebody who was terminally ill. So that creates a past practice. So I'm kind of shocked, and I don't really understand why at this point I'm being the person who's being set an example for. And I understand, Zillia, I appreciate that you looked up the ruling and what changed and all of that. I really do appreciate that. But I don't understand why I'm the one who's being set the example. At this point, they had 3 weeks to tell me that my medical illness days were not going to be approved. They waited until after I wasn't receiving pay to inform me. It's not like I was irresponsible. I saved time, I took care of my stuff, I did everything. I'm back, I'm doing everything I did. I worked for the snowplow this last storm, I worked for it, all of it. So my plea is, can I get my 9 days paid for? And then you can update the entire city on the difference on this is flat out the way it is.
So just to clarify a couple points, I understand what you're saying, but so each collective bargaining agreement isn't the same, and each union bargaining unit has bargained it differently. So the treatment of MI and the treatment of donated MI is different in each CBA. So your CBA is silent as to it. So we're not talking about a situation where the contract is ambiguous and we're looking for some sort of established policy to clarify the ambiguity in the collective bargaining agreement. It just simply isn't there. So we have to look to the ordinance, and the ordinance is specific. It just says you have to, as you've noted, it has to be for the care of a terminally ill or life-threatening illness. And the only recourse the council can do, I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but the only recourse the council can do is amend its ordinance. That's all they can do. There's not even an appeal process.
It just doesn't make sense to me. Last month you told me repeatedly that it was ghost payrolling and all these things. And at this point, it was ghost payrolling and you can't change it, then who holds the people accountable that paid it previously?
I'm not going to speak to anybody else's leave. I don't think that's appropriate. We're not going to do that here tonight. But I'm just telling you that what you're facing is, it's not in your contract at all.
Medical illness is separate anyways.
Donated time. It's not in your contract. So the council passed in 2020 the ordinance, as you know, that allows for certain circumstances for donation and receiving donated MI time. You don't qualify under the ordinance.
That's the thing, though. The ordinance didn't change.
Okay,
The ordinance was already, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm talking. The ordinance wasn't changed. The amount of days donated were changed. That terminally ill ordinance was already there, so I forget what year it was, 2008 or 12 or something, that ordinance was there. So for the last 10 years, you repeatedly paid people donated time, and then now you're choosing to set an example for me, and I'm just curious why.
Well, I can tell you, for you, I don't know about it 10 years ago, but I can say for you, when it was presented to me and asked if I could sign off on your time, I just say if you're legally entitled to it. I don't set the ordinance, I don't set the policy, I'm doing that stuff. I just look at it and say, is this person legally entitled to it? I'm not saying you're ghost payrolling, I'm saying, are you legally entitled to it? I'm not gonna get into anybody else's situation. That's unfair. I'm just saying, let me finish. So the ordinance, I'm not for you or against you, I just want you to know that. But the ordinance says very specific, it's a very specific benefit. You don't qualify it as it stands. It would require an amendment of the city council.
And I understand what you're saying, but you are the person who approved time for a similar situation not very long ago. So you don't even follow your own rules. It doesn't make sense.
I don't know leave to leave. We're not going to talk about somebody else's leave or medical condition.
Because why? You don't want the public to know that you don't follow
Because
your own rules?
It's personal information that we cannot talk about.
It's against the law to do that. We're not going to talk about
Is it against the law? Because the last meeting I was here, you spoke of the person. You literally brought it up.
You did. And I'm not going to talk about somebody else's medical condition or their leave request.
Because you made a
don't
mistake and
qualify.
you don't want to correct it. This is on you.
Okay,
You made the mistake and you don't want to correct
No,
it.
done.
That's
We're
enough.
done. I'm not debating. You don't qualify under the ordinance. It will require the council to amend the ordinance.
You know
It's
what
up
would
to
have
them.
been nice is when I called the mayor 2 weeks ago and somebody would have called me back. That's what would have been nice. You were irresponsible about it. You did not get back to me in any form. 2 weeks ago, I left a message with your voicemail, Ms. Lynch, and you never called me back. Never. I didn't even get something back from your secretary. You guys thought, you gaslighted me. You told me that we could,
That's
excuse me.
enough, Ashley.
You told me that we would have a meeting about it,
Ashley,
we did
that's
discuss
enough.
it, and you had no
Ashley, your time is
intentions.
up.
Your time is
You
up.
had no intentions on being respectful back. I sure hope this isn't
Ashley,
how you
you're
treat
done.
your residents. It's a shame. I sure hope it's not how you treat your residents. That's what I came for. Just so the residents
You
know
need to
the
move away
leadership
from the
they
podium.
have.
We have other people who want to speak.
Absolutely. I just
Thank
want
you.
the residents to know who you guys
Thank you.
are.
Thank you.
Is
So
there any,
anyway, Mayor, if I can, so
The council, just to be clear, the council wishes to amend its ordinance, it can do so. If it does not amend the ordinance, her request is not allowable under the law.
is there anyone else who would like to speak to the council? Mrs. White, did you want to bring anything up? Mhm.
Well, I know this has been a few years back, but it never got resolved.
Would you please just state your name and address for the record?
Joyce White, 5572 Orchard Avenue. I've been a resident here in Portage, I'm pretty sure about 18 years. I've been in real bad health for the last 10. We were doing some cleanup in my garage. I ordered an extra trash can, not recycle, a trash can. When I got done with that, which was maybe a month, at the most probably 2, I called and asked for it to be picked up. 2 guys from the city in the city truck came to my house, picked that trash can up, and put it in the back of that pickup truck and drove off with it. Whoever the 2 guys were, and I know for a fact that when they're sent out on a job, whoever asked them to go pick them up knew who those 2 guys were. When I came over there and tried to get some kind of help to try to find out who those 2 guys were, they said no, it was too late, too late. Nobody knew. And when I pulled in over there at that place over there by where the dump is at, when I pulled up, there was a city truck parked in a handicapped spot, and there was only one at the time. Now, since that incident, because I brought it to their attention, here I've got a handicapped plate, and yet I have to park down here because city truck up here is in the handicap plate.
So Joyce, when did they pick up your garbage can? Do you have a date of when they came back and picked up that extra trash container?
No, but I do know that they can go back approximately 8 years or so and find out exactly what I'm talking about. I'm on a fixed income.
I'm just interrupt you. I'm confused. What's the issue?
What's the issue? I was charged
Oh, okay.
all that time.
Okay, there we go.
I mean, I don't know why you laughed when I said I live on a fixed income.
No, I wasn't laughing. You didn't talk about being charged. You just said they picked up your trash can.
Well,
Yeah.
I had to pay for that trash can all that time. I didn't have it. And whoever took the garbage can, if it wasn't turned in, then they took it to their resident. That's all I can think of. But I do know that you guys know, if you look back, you will find out the 2 men that was in that truck that picked up that garbage can.
How long ago was that, Joyce?
I'm not real sure. I've been through so many operations for the past few years.
Was it in 2022? What year? Was it last year?
No.
The year before?
No, it's been probably about, I'm going to say at least 4 years or maybe 5.
How long have you been charged?
Well, I was charged, I think, 3 years after that.
Nina,
Are you still
that's
being
something we could look
charged?
on the bill, right?
We could look it up and then
Are you
we
still being
she could
charged,
attend the Board of
Joyce?
Works.
No, I'm not at this time. But this is what I'm saying. I was charged for something I didn't get.
Right.
I need my money.
I think the Board of Works could consider that, correct? Mayor, Dan?
It sounds like she
Yes,
was
if
billed
Nina
for an
gives
extra
us some
toter for
information.
months, and she only wanted one pickup, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
We need to have some kind of information.
So Nina,
So the
yeah,
Board of
if you
Works
could get the
can act.
history, and we'll take it up, if the mayor wants to, at the next Board of Works meeting.
The council isn't the body that would refund, it would be the Board of Works.
Okay, so I'm supposed to come back here next month then and see if
No.
anything has,
This body won't do anything. We have Board of Works every other Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning. So it's right here in this chamber, but we'll have to have Nina do a
If I
little
can get
bit
your
of
phone
homework
number.
for us.
I'm gonna make sure I have a correct phone number, and then I can call you to make sure that we're prepared for you to be on the next Board of Works, whether it be the second Tuesday or fourth Tuesday.
yeah, I would appreciate that, because I have so many appointments, I can't keep up with all of it. My number?
Yeah, you want to say it out loud right now. I'll give it
Okay. Thank you, and thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Joyce. We'll get it straightened out.
I sure hope so.
Are there any other matters to come before this council at this time?
Madam Mayor, I'd just like to ask President Podgorski to schedule with council an executive session. I'd like to handle a couple of things. One is we're embarking into the contract negotiations with the fire department. I'd like to get some input and some discussion going about how you want to approach that. Second of all, I'd like to update you on the status of litigation, in case you have interest in that. So if you guys could maybe schedule something like that. It shouldn't take long, maybe an hour.
I'll send out an email to everybody. Will you let me know if there's a particular evening that works for you better? Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before this council? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Need a second.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.